guys, it's Ghosdee. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm talking about my favorite scores from horror films. I'm back with another video. I'm so excited to be talking about music today because I love music. If you didn't know, I am also a musician. Honestly, I would call music my first love, just because it's something that I knew immediately that I loved. I was very aware of that at a young age, and singing and creating and playing music has always been a passion of mine. There are some very important pieces in horror cinema that were created that live in my heart and that I want to talk about today. This is not a list in any particular order or ranking, but I probably will say that all of these songs are my favorite songs because that's just me. I've been listening to the Carrie score, well, 2 songs specifically, all week on repeat. I shit you not. When I sat down to do this project, there were a couple of movies I had in mind that I knew were going to be on this list, and there were some that I had to just think about, and Carrie came up. Pino Donaggio just kind of nails the innocence of Carrie, but also the sinister, creepy vibe of her as well. There's a lot of flute, using that almost as a motif of Carrie. It feels like anytime I hear the flute, I'm like, this is the presence of Carrie. The Coronation and the Blood. This is the name of the piece that's playing in the prom scene. This song has actually been on repeat and will continue to be on repeat for the rest of the summer. I don't care. I love songs with crescendos. I love songs that play with the structure and tempo, and oh boy, does this play with tempo. The prominent use of low instruments, especially those trombones, they pull them out to play melodic as well. They don't just use the lows as background. It complements the film because it just captures the essence of innocence versus a true pure evil. I don't consider Carrie the evil in this film. I consider her mother the evil, and I feel like her mother has projected evil onto her, and I think that Carrie was just granted the superpower to protect her, high key. With that being said, her mother, the song that is being played during their final goodbye, the crucifixion, that's also another beautiful song. It's lullaby-like, but there's still that true suspense. Like in any good horror score, you need some suspenseful strings. I'm honestly just so impressed with every single piece in this score. I probably cried more than the average person has in this viewing, simply because this score is so fucking beautiful. It is light and folk-ish, kind of reminds me of a fairy tale. When I was looking into what the inspo for Midsummer score, I read that Ari Aster was seeking out someone that could compose music that was in the genre of dread and grief. It turns out that this guy's been experimenting with music in that exact genre. Nailing sad, somber, heavy tones is definitely all up in that. Midsummer also has so many bright and light twinkly pieces, and I also like the repetitiveness of his pieces. Like he layers and also repeats things on and on. The use of other sounds, people's voices, and gas, the use of the horn and gas, I thought that was fucking genius. In that moment, that scene, the horn, the sound, Danny's crying, the pan, I was sold on the whole movie. I have a few pieces in this film that I really like. The Blessing is my all-time favorite one. That's the one I meditate to the most. That is the song that is playing when Danny is blessing the crops. There's so many mini crescendos. Fire Temple. Yeah, I think that's why I cried at the ending of this movie the most. The way the film explores breath, the score explores breath because it's so slowly paced. I can't explain it. It's the feeling I get when I listen to it, so. Charlie Clouser is probably one of my favorite human beings simply because he created this score. Oh my god, I get goosebumps every time. When it comes to horror themes and villains having their sounds, Jigsaw has the best one. That industrial metal sound is so perfect for Saw because Jigsaw's an engineer and he's like using these gears and shit. I just thought that the sounds that I was hearing matched the visuals so perfectly. Hello's Up and the Overture, I believe, is like the name of the main one. And then there's the final Zep, which I love, is kind of like a revamp version. It starts off this slow, melodic, violin, almost like soul-y type thing. And then it gets dark. It gets dark and it drops. It's like a bass drop, but there's no bass, and it gets dark, and then it becomes this like cinematic, orchestral type thing going on. The Saw score brings together this industrial metal sound with the typical suspenseful horror score that you want to see. It throws in a unique, sinister theme that is just throughout the whole movie, and it's with different instruments, with different ways. Now, Charlie Clouser is very talented, so talented that he ended up working on another one of my favorite horror movies. For this series was scored by a couple of different people. So the first two films are scored by Marco Petrami, and then the third film was scored by Charlie Clouser, and the later films were scored by Tom and Andy. The Marco Petrami piece, it's not even on any streaming sites. I had to like listen to it on YouTube. I do really like this though. Again, along the lines of industrial metal. I like the slow build up. I love long pieces that are kind of repetitive like that you kind of just can kind of group to. When Charlie Clouser got to the project, he brought elements of that initial score into one of the songs. It's called Clone Awake. It's one of the first songs in the Resident Evil Extinction. It starts off almost as if it was a continuation of the first song, but kind of fades into a different style. And by this movie, the style of the score isn't really what it was. I would say like that genre of music in which all those horror movies like Ghost Ship, Resident Evil, I mean even Saw were using, kind of like phasing out. I honestly didn't really vibe too much with the Extinction score. I did, however, vibe with Flying Through the Air, Tom and Andy. I just want to say like the pairing of this song and the scene that's going on in this movie, because it's like a reversal. They score Alice on screen well. Acting and the choreography with the actress it just works very well for me. I don't know why no one talks about how fucking amazing this score is. Shout out to fucking Shirley Walker. As a woman composer, she was a pioneer. Final Destination score is great, and I hate that there's no CDs. I can't fucking find this anywhere. I just gotta listen to it on YouTube. No, I just especially love the theme she uses for Depth. It's just so haunting and mysterious. It creeps. Now, Shirley is so much of a pioneer. She actually worked with our boy John Carpenter, who just so happened to score another one of my faves, Halloween. I think This is like the first time I was genuinely aware that I fucked with the song from a horror movie. Reading that John Carpenter sat in like a studio and just wrote 3 themes and edited them together to add to the movie is like, what type of genius shit is that? The themes that he created were so unique. They nailed the essence of Michael so well. That's all he needed. And that's all that is used and that is played upon throughout this first score, especially he's back on for Halloween and Halloween Kills. I love that intro to Halloween Kills. The like choir singing. I like John Carpenter's style. 80s synth is really living in the scores, I feel like, in Halloween 2018, and I was really worried that it was going to be too outdated, but no, it actually really worked very well. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, you can give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel. You can always hit the bell to be notified whenever I post new content. 2, 3, 4